right, welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back, everyone. I know I haven't went live in a while. I want to do an update just to kind of go over some of the price action that we're seeing on the board, because one of the biggest things that we've noticed as of like today and last few days, and if you watch my last video, one of the things that we were talking about was getting confidence in the market, waiting on some of the bigger numbers to come out, waiting on to kind of get like an idea of what Q1 is going to look like going forward. And a lot of the numbers that came out today, a lot of reviews are saying that the numbers are kind of, we can say fixed or still not including a lot of that important data to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking for going forward. So we're seeing that confidence kind of trickle over into the market, or shall I say, lack of confidence trickle over into the market. So, and obviously, so we're seeing this across the board. So I wanted to kind of pull up here a few examples. You'll see last few days, Bitcoin here just getting absolutely rejected from the 14-day, and obviously been pushing down toward the mid 80s range. If you're in the group, we talked about the possibility long term here. I don't believe it necessarily get there, but the possibility for that window to get into like the low mid 60s. But overall, right now we are not showing any strength right here, and definitely giving some bearish signals by rejecting off of the 14-day. We did get the cross, obviously, of the 72,200 up here, and that's been remaining true. That signal here, as far as going lower, that has certainly been remaining true here. And we have not been able to break above even our short-term indicator here with any type of conviction. I wanted to talk about that first before we go over to Doge. You'll see a very similar pattern here, us breaking down into that lower fib level here. 14-day is going to be our arch nemesis as well. Similar patterns, obviously. The macros are going to follow that leader here for which is our Bitcoin. They're going to follow that leader here. So you're going to see the 72-200-day cross, but same thing as far as that trend downward. That 14-day has been the arch nemesis, and we've been able to break some levels here that we have not broken since earlier this year. And normally we typically got rejections here at around that 13 cents level. Even far back, I'm zooming out right here. This is June 25th. We have April. We have about 3 touches here. Early April. We have March. Okay, we're much higher then. But yeah, so that's been our safety net here pretty much all year. And you're seeing the lack of confidence kind of break us, especially for Doge, break us down below that safety net. So that's something that has been trickling over from some of the macros here in the market, and that fear, or I'll say disbelief here on how well or how bad we're actually doing, has been kind of been trickling over here. So let me see, I had a SPY chart. Let's see. I wanted to bring this up as well. This is a SPY chart. I know you guys are commenting. I will take a look in a second here. I'm still looking at the charts here, so I'll be back over. But this is SPY here. I wanted to kind of show you this here is obviously going to be the tariffs. So that dip here, this is going to be the daily. So if you can do the weekly and get a similar pattern, but this is going to be the tariffs here, that dip. And this has been our trend for quite some time. Zooming out here, right? This has been our trend for quite some time, right? And we've been bumping our heads right here. So what we have here is we have a breakdown between some earlier resistance levels that have, well, support levels that have been here for crypto since earlier this year. And then you have SPY bumping its head along its trend line that it's been into for the last few years, right? And unless we get a serious boom here where we're going to absolutely just rocket out of this and start a new trend, we're due for somewhat of a correction here. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that we're going to necessarily dip down to or go back down to like 540 or something like that to stay within bars, but because obviously you can take I can give you a prime example here from July of 2024. You'll see that while we weren't necessarily maxed out, there were some times that we were able to kind of dip below like the 72 and make some decent gains here while still overall continuing upward, right? The opportunity of a lifetime here was obviously these tariffs, or really anytime you're able to get SPY below the 200-day moving average. But for those of you that follow the channel, you guys know that if you're able to catch SPY below the 200, it is an absolute steal here. So that's kind of what we're looking at here on the macros as well, as far as for getting some breathing room here on this current trajectory for SPY. The macros for crypto, Bitcoin, Doge, none of those are showing confidence right now, and we're breaking some of the trends that we've had earlier this year. I'm going to switch back over to Doge, and I'm going to show you guys how some of those questions here. Let me go back to the chat so I can see. Okay, so I'm going through the comments right now, so give me a sec. Let's see. 2026 will be very interesting. That it will, absolutely. Let's see. It's over, my boy. I hope you sold at 50 cents. If by any chance it goes back up to 50, we'll still be the top. Sell all and move on. Crypto is going to hurt a lot of people. God bless. I'm assuming you're speaking for Dogecoin, and one of the things I've talked about even in my last video and some of the comments, as far as for Doge, is the biggest thing that even with the community is being pushed is obviously going to be for utility, right? Because you're going to see these cryptos as we get that hyper focused, kind of like what I was talking about, where these cryptos going to go into their niches, and a lot of coins get weeded out. It's going to have to settle into a specific area, right? And if you're not just, and this goes for any coin, if it's not being propelled, let's say by media or Elon, or there has to be some type of catalyst here to propel the coin, right? Because that's going to be the biggest thing that's going to get it to break previous all-time highs and go higher here versus having the price fluctuations and zones and numbers that it's already had. So that's going to be the biggest thing overall for the coin. And that's one of the things that I've always talked about here on the channel, as far as being long-term with these coins here, because we've seen these numbers. Crypto has always been very volatile. I remember when I came on here and talked about, I think Bitcoin was 50,000 or something, and I was saying that it was going to go, it had the range to go to around 20,000, ended up dipping even below that. Crypto is, it's the nature of the game, right? And when we're looking at something like a Dogecoin, outside of it not having the limited supply, something like a Bitcoin, utility is going to be that biggest thing for the actual coin, right? And that's going to play one of the biggest factors into how the coin performs going forward versus the community just buying coins, right? That's going to be the biggest factor going forward. So that and utility. So I'm going to start posting some of the things from like the Doge Foundation as well, because I think that's going to be important for the community to kind of stay in touch with, so that they know how the coin is building and performing. Because I think that's one of the things that gets overlooked a lot on YouTube, is people are not discussing some of those advancements and things that the actual foundation is trying to push forward to get to that aligns with a lot of things that the actual community wants. Mostly what happens here on YouTube is all price and hype, and those things kind of get lost in the sauce. So I kind of wanted to bring those things to light here. I think that'll kind of answer some of those questions here. But overall, portfolios, everything, you should be, I'll also say you should be definitely diversifying and building out your portfolios, because what's happening right now, I'm not sure when you got on the live, but if you're looking at things like the SPY and what they're doing with the numbers, I believe we're going to have some opportunities here coming forward. So I don't necessarily think that, and Doge has been proven to withstand the test of time as well. So that's not something I think it's just going to wake up tomorrow and be like, Doge is over with. I think Beastia Productions just mentioned that. I want to go back up here in a second, but we're going to see like kind of like that hyper focus come in when we start seeing some of the bigger numbers from institutions, and as crypto kind of becomes more mainstream. It's just that there are a few other things here that are kind of pending that people really don't have confidence in the market. So that's why we're seeing things get shaken up. And the last thing, I know this is kind of been long-winded, but when you have coins like a Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then like a Doge, who Bitcoin is obviously going to have bigger investors and it's going to be more mainstream. when you have lack of confidence in those and those get sold off, you're going to see even coins like Dogecoin take a bigger hit. So also just kind of keep that in mind as well. So Doge is not going to disappear all this time and it's still in the top 10. Yep, that's 100%. It's Doge's prime over short-term and long-term price action. Thank you. I won't say like the prime is over, but I think that what people are considering, it depends on what you mean by prime, right? Because Doge is one of the oldest coins that there is. It's been around, I want to say since 2012. The biggest thing that when you're looking at these numbers are if you are comparing it to prime hype, like with Elon, it being like mainstream, and that's when all those other coins and stuff like that came out prior to a lot of the brokers going bankrupt and stuff. That's going to be a difficult time to kind of compare it to, because when you're looking at prime hype, I wouldn't necessarily associate that with prime Doge, because prime Doge is going to be like the price action that was associated with that. So I guess if you want to link those two, then that's going to be a different category compared to Doge branching out and actually having some form of like utility or being used. Let's say, like we were talking about a while back, like payments for X or something like that. That's going to be a different kind of prime versus speculation prime. So I think it just kind of depends on what you mean. But the speculation prime, I don't think that just the to the moon days and all that kind of stuff. I think overall in crypto has matured past that, not just a Doge thing. I think that's a crypto in general, right? Because most people are, not say most people, but the crypto community has matured past that as a whole. And most people know what wallets are. They know about institutions. They know how to move their crypto. They know how to get information for their crypto. So things are a little bit different now. But I don't think we've seen the best of any of the coins that are going to be around. I think crypto is still overall in its infancy stages, and we're going to see further developments long term for crypto. Let's see. Dave, are you not sure what you mean if they finish that statement there? Let's see. I'll scroll back up. What a crypto year. Yeah, this year has definitely been interesting, that's for sure. But overall, yeah, I wanted to provide that update. I'll just kind of give you guys an opportunity to, ask questions, put anything in the comments. I haven't been on here in a while. I've been finishing up with school, but let's see. David, are you into any of the ISO coins such as Quaint? No. I'm more so just kind of like hyper focusing on that and stocks, building out some of the portfolios. I do believe that 2026 overall is going to give us an opportunity here to kind of take our portfolios to the next level. That's one of the things I put inside of the Discord last night. I think that we're going to see some very interesting times coming out. So I'm not necessarily, how do I put this? I'm not necessarily going wide right now. I'm preferring to go deep on the assets that I already own. So that's kind of going to be my focus here, especially going into, I'll say Q1 of next year. It's more so accumulation and going deep on the assets that I already own. So haven't added anything else. Let's see. Always got to have that one that comes in your life and runs their mouth saying it's over. Yeah, it's common. It's common. And obviously they say the same thing about everything, right? You'll see this here, like with Bitcoin when it tanks, with Tesla when it tanks. And I've made more money on Tesla than any other stock, right? The Tesla is one of my favorite stocks, and you see it all the time. You have, and that's one of the things I kind of thought that affected Dogecoin as well, is because even on Tesla, you have perma bears on Tesla. Like they're waiting on the company to go bankrupt, right? And I do believe Dogecoin has a community just like that. Like they've been praying since 2020 on Doge to just fall off of a cliff and die, right? And I believe like the perma bears on Doge are a real thing, and I believe they are, out here and they're looking. I'm not saying maybe he does have investments. I'm not, attacking him or saying that he is, but I know overall there is a community out there, and they're gonna continuously make comments like that. And I used to have them on my videos all the time. They would just click on my videos just to put things like that in the comment section. They're definitely a real thing. Great time to DCA and to Doge. Yeah, dude, we're gonna have some great times here to improve our portfolios overall, right? And that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about continuously in the podcast and going over some of the investments. That's why I kind of branched out today to talk about SPY and kind of give you some ideas, because that range here we pretty much inside of the Discord we had options on SPY, and pretty much rode that wave up to around like that 700. That was one of the things that has been profitable here for the majority of the year, because we did less plays this past few months here than we did last year around this time. But let's see if I can pull it up on my phone here. I want to give you guys the exact numbers here, some of the plays we pulled off. SPY paid well at 2 because I had a long-term call option on SPY. Let me see here. I'll find it. Yeah, so that was on January 13th. I had a $600 call on SPY, and right now it's up around 105.60%, right? So that returned about $4,000 here from SPY. So overall, when we're looking at the market, we're going to see things that are going to give us an opportunity to push and make money, regardless of what happens. Obviously we can make money both ways. I'm excited about going into this new year, Q1. We're going to see what the numbers are. Hopefully we get better numbers on some of the macros here coming in. I believe it was January 19th. Hopefully we get some of the better numbers here next month, so that we can kind of get some what I would call accurate numbers here to see which direction we're overall going to go. But I'm looking at a setup here for a great 2026. That's one of the things I'm going to be excited about. Let's see. Never thought we'd see the low prices at this moment. Really incredible. A brand new investor has an amazing chance right now to get in before we rocket late next year. Yeah, and I think this is going to be very important here. And another thing I want to point out, for those of you who've been with me for a while, you guys know that my very first investment in life was silver, right? I bought my first 5 ounces of silver when I was 15 years old. And the price of silver right now has broken new all-time highs. Gold is up. And when I start seeing this type of movement in precious metals has historically been a hedge against inflation. We know that we've transferred from QT to QE recently, and now we're seeing these huge spikes. That's one of the things that I'm actually I'm keeping an eye on it, right? Because when you start seeing these precious metals start running like that, normally that's very telling of what's going forward, or what's expected in the markets, right? And this is kind of saying, hey, we're expecting some type of inflation, or we're expecting some type of pullback here in other areas. So we're going to try and hedge against that and get something that you can't necessarily mint and produce of in mass quantity. So that's one thing, and that's kind of keeping my eye on the market here, because I've read a lot of books on silver, but this is something I've been very diverse in for well over a decade now. And when I start seeing this type of price action, especially at the silver bent dormant, because I started buying silver, it was like $15 an ounce or something. It was less than $20 an ounce, right? And I remember when it got to 50 and it dipped back down. But having these historic runs right before we're supposed to go into like the best year is very, I'm going to say alarming, but it definitely has my attention, right? So that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about and keeping an eye on here going forward. So anyway, just want to come on, give you guys an update here. If you want to watch the recap, you can replay this video or listen to it on Apple Podcasts. This is going to be a part of the episodes here. I'll put it on there so you can listen to it. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.